Hey, welcome back to Anxiety Makes Me Poop. We're going to talk about a really important topic to me and maybe to some others is how we can be better for our kids. Because let's be real, so many of us, if you're listening, went through tough times when we were younger and felt completely alone. I 100% did. I had no one, absolutely no one. And I can't stop thinking about how different things could have been if just that one person, and I know I've talked about this before, stopped and said, hey, what's going on? You okay? I mean, I got blamed for being on drugs. I got blamed for hanging out with the wrong people, and that's why I had an attitude, and I got blamed for being crazy, and it was all because I was surviving. That's it. Today we're talking about recognizing the signs of a struggle and how to support the kids in our lives. How to break the cycle of ignoring what's beneath the surface. So I'm just going to start with something personal. I was a senior in high school, and actually this is why I'm recording it today, because it woke me up in the middle of the night for some reason. This happens. I have blocks of childhood where I can't remember anything. There's nothing. I think I've shared that before. I look at pictures that I'm tagged in. I'm like, wow, I do not remember taking that picture, and I don't remember things, and I can only remember specific things, certain things. There's not a lot that I can remember, and I think it's because I was constantly in survival mode. I felt like no one really saw me, like no one really understood what was going on. And, that's what happened back then. I'm older now. So back then, I don't feel like kids had the resource that they do today. And I probably wouldn't have opened up even if they asked, because I didn't know how. I was never taught how. But there is one moment that really stuck out. So it was a Saturday morning, and Fridays were usually tough at my house. My certain guardian liked to drink a little bit. I'm not going to call anybody out. And the energy in the house just was heavy. And it was rough for us. Okay. So whenever there's some sort of substance abuse, it does happen. Okay. So for whatever reason, I didn't want to go to cheerleading practice on Saturday morning. I don't know if I was exhausted, if I was stressed. I just couldn't make it there. But when I finally showed up, because the coach called me and said, where the heck are you? I was actually met with anger. The coach yelled at me. Not a single person asked what happened. Everybody was mad at me. No one asked why I was late. No one asked how I was doing. I showed up in tears because I didn't want to go. I could not mentally handle anything else that I was going through. And so they were just mad that I was late. And that moment stuck with me because so many of us go through something hard, and instead of being met with compassion and met with just questions on how we're doing or what happened or how can I help, we're just met with frustration. Because I think a lot of people just think about themselves. And I remember when I walked in, the coach put me aside and said, do you know what you did to the team by showing up an hour late? She did not. And I tried to tell her maybe that I was burnt out, and she did not want any of it. It was what I had done to disappoint the team, and all that did was pile up with what I had already been going through. So how often do we expect people, especially kids? Now, I was a senior in high school going through a really hard time, but even younger than that, to just show up and perform without even considering what they might be carrying or what they might be going to. Let's break the cycle. We need to do better, not just for our own kids, but for the kids around us, for our nieces, nephews, neighbors, students, even the teens working the drive-through window. Smile at them, even if they don't smile at you first. Don't expect someone that works in retail or in a drive-through to be always happy. They could be having a bad day too. Okay. So one smile or one, happy thank you might make their day. We do not know what people are carrying. I want to talk about a few things that we can do to actually see kids and make them feel heard. Look for signs, please. Any changes in behavior. And it's funny because I was reading through some of this and doing this research. I'm like, oh, yep, I had all of that and had no one to ask the question. So listen, look for signs. Changes in behavior. If a kid who used to be social suddenly withdraws, it's a sign. If someone who used to be energetic now seems exhausted all the time, it's a sign. Academic or extracurricular shifts. If the grades drop, if they start skipping practices or meetings, something is up. Ask the questions. How about physical signs? Changes in sleep patterns. They're up at night. Maybe they have weight gain or loss. Maybe even just looking unkept. It all can be indicators of emotional distress. Ask the questions and actually listen. Instead of assuming laziness or disrespect, say, hey, I noticed maybe you're a little different lately. Is everything okay? And if they say, yeah, okay, you ask the question. But maybe it planted a seed and they know that if something does come up or if they think about it later, they can come to you and say, I do want to share something that happened at school, or I do want to share something with you that I've been thinking about. And listen. Be their safe space, please. If a kid misses practice or school, instead of immediately reprimanding them, ask, is there something going on that made it hard for you to come to school, to come to practice? That is what I should have been welcomed with, open arms and saying, I see that you're crying. Is there something going on that made it hard for you to come to this practice this morning? And I probably would have said, yeah, this is what's going on. Maybe I wouldn't have, but maybe I would have, and my whole life could have been different. Truly, one question can make a difference. So if they seem upset but don't want to talk, maybe you can try a different approach, like, hey, I'm here for you if you ever want to talk about anything. No pressure. I'm here. Call me, text me, message me, show up, right? And show up for them. Ask open-ended questions. What's been on your mind lately? Is there anything you wish people understood about you right now? Or is there anything you just want to tell somebody right now? If they do open up, please avoid jumping in with solutions. Instead, just say, that sounds really tough. Do you want to talk more about it? Or just have someone listen? And please tell them, after they tell you their story or what's going on, I acknowledge what you're telling me, or I hear you. What would you like me to do? Is there anything you'd like me to do? I'm very fortunate. I have 2 kids that no matter what happens, good, bad, ugly, exciting, anything, I am the first one they call, or I am the first one that they text, or the fam bam text gets, you guys aren't going to believe this. This is what, very fortunate. I feel like we were a safe space for our kids because maybe we didn't have that when we were younger. So being that safe space, speaking of, is a lot of kids don't talk because they don't think adults will take them seriously. Show them that their feelings matter. Keep an open door policy with your kids, with any other kids that you're a guardian of. Let them know that they can come to you with anything without judgment. Listen to them. Put your phone down, put the book down, shut the TV off. I work on my computer a lot, but I realized that it was a habit that I actually heard from my brother-in-law, who told me about my sister-in-law, who said that anytime he walked into the room to say something to her, she would put her book down and give him all of her attention. And to me, that stuck. And I know that's adult to adult, but it stuck with me because just the other day I had my computer, I was writing, I was finishing up. I have a hysterectomy book coming out, and my daughter walked in and she said, can I tell you guys something? I immediately closed my laptop and turned my body and my face to her to listen to anything she wanted to say. Try it. Shut everything down, look right at them and listen to what they have to say without judgment. If you notice a kid in your life is struggling, try to check in on them regularly. Even if it's a quick text. Hey, thinking about you today. Hey, hope you're doing okay. Hey, anything I can help you with? It can make a huge difference. It may take 5-10 times, but it will make a huge difference. They will know that you're there. Maybe you could teach healthy coping mechanisms. We can't control everything our kids go through. Oh man, it just, right? You see your nieces and nephews or your own kids and you're like, oh man, but we can give them tools to handle tough times. Model things like maybe journaling or just speaking up when they need some help with anything, deep breathing, even just talking or taking a walk to clear your mind, right? Hey, let's go for a walk. Tell me what's on your mind. Or guess what? Maybe sometimes it's just a walk and it's quiet. There's nothing wrong with that. They put their headphones in or their AirPods in, AirPods, whatever they're called, and they just want to listen to music while they walk with you. But guess what? They feel safe walking with you. Encourage the kids to talk about their emotions. If they don't want to talk to you, help them find someone they can talk to. Teacher, coach, therapist, friend. Careful with the friend. Make sure it's a positive friend. Make sure it's someone that will help, depending on the situation. Remember that their behavior is a form of communication. If a kid is acting out, there's a reason. Even when they're younger, 1, 2, 3 years old, they're crying. There's a reason. They're not just being brats, right? There's a reason. So instead of punishing immediately, take a step back and ask, what is behind this behavior? Observe for a moment. And just remember, sometimes the kids who push you away the hardest are the ones that may need support the most. Be there for them. Listen. Keep your voice calm. And if they are going to tell you something that might be pretty dramatic for them, don't raise your voice and get dramatic with them. Say, I hear you. How can I help? Show your emotions later to your spouse or to whoever else, right? So here's my final thoughts on this. At the end of the day, and I know we touched on maybe 1%, right? But I just wanted to bring this out because it's something that woke me up in the middle of the night. I thought, you know what? I have to talk about this. So we maybe spoke on 1% of everything that we can do for kids. But at the end of the day, so many people, especially kids, are struggling in ways that we don't see. It costs us nothing to be kind, to ask, to listen. So please, right now, let's commit to being better. Let's commit to listening. Let's commit to seeing those kids that might be struggling. Let's be the people we needed when we were younger. Break the cycle. Let's make sure the next generation doesn't feel as alone as maybe so many of us did. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time.